We measure everything in our daily lives to give us an idea of how tall something is, how wide it is, the volume something can hold. Some measure themselves by how much others weigh. And it's usually pretty easy. You just measure something from the bottom to the top and come up with a size. And in surfing, we measure how far away a certain beach break is that we're going to.
Starting route to El Porto.
We measure our wetsuits. Even our surfboards are measured. But the one thing that really stands out as one of the more difficult things to measure is the waves that we ride. As long as probably any of us can remember, people always want to talk about how big the wave was that they're riding.
See bigger waves in a toilet.
Even as kids, I remember where we used to overhype things. Like you'd be out there on your little BMX bike and you would jump it and you would say, oh man, I jumped 5 feet past the ramp on that one. That was unbelievable. Meanwhile, you got like credit card air. You just barely got off the road. It started early on of this over exaggeration of heights, but it's just become like a part of how we do things. We always want to over accentuate how grand we're doing something, how well we're doing something, how macho it was that I just surfed a 20-foot wave instead of a 10-foot wave.
I don't go out unless it's at least double overhead, so Daddy can spend some quality time in the green room.
When we describe size, sometimes we call it from the bottom of the wave to the top of the wave, the part that the surfer is riding. Like in a lot of my videos, you hear me saying, oh, it was knee to waist, chest high, head high, overhead, double overhead, triple overhead. What else is there? Way overhead. I've heard a lot of that. And then some people even measure it by the back of the wave. A lot of people call it the Hawaiian style of measuring, where you go from top to bottom, but it's on the back side of the wave. The main forecast site, Surfline, likes to tell you it's going to be 4 to 6 foot, 2 to 3 foot, flat, and then they give you the conditions. While other ones, like Swell Magnet, will tell you more of the head high, chest high, double overhead, way overhead kind of a range. There's also a thickness. Some of these beach breaks, these gnarly reef breaks, they're thicker than they are tall. So don't we have to put that into the equation? And maybe that's just one more thing for us to consider. Is it just a surf thing, or is it done through all sports? When you're snow skiing, snowboarding, no one talks about how big the mountain is. Now there are cliffs you can jump. And I'm not that familiar with it, so you have to let me know. It depends on if you're calling it a 20-foot cliff and it's actually a 10-foot cliff that I jumped off of. How about how far you jump? That could work in snowboarding. I launched 10 feet in the air. Maybe that's it. I'm curious, which one is right? Which one do you use? And which one drives you absolutely crazy that people use when they tell you the wave height? If somebody's on social media saying, I just rode a 20-foot wave, it's almost macho to say, that's not 20, that's only 10 foot, that's only 5 foot. Does that matter? I don't think by us calling them out and saying, oh no, that's only 5 foot when he's saying it's 10 foot or she's saying it's 20 foot and you know it's really 8 foot. Maybe we just be nice to people and let them have that moment to say, hey, I rode a 20-foot wave when a lot of us know it was 10 foot. So by us calling them out, is it really doing anything good? Maybe you're trying to help educate them. Or maybe in a way we're putting them down because they're really hoping and wanting to have people praise them for surf a wave that was that big. And who are we to knock them away from their happiness? So I say we just go with it. And then there's lying about size to get more views. I don't know if that works in any other industry. A lot of YouTubers, I've probably never done it. Well, no, I've done it for sure. Now, I've also done the opposite and undersized it. And I said, yeah, this is, a 2-foot day or a 3-foot day. And realistically, like the waves were probably head high and over. And then I get people calling me out on that side as well. Oh, no way, that's larger than it is. If we ever got that here, it would be insane. So you can almost undercall it and you can definitely overcall it on both ends. And then there's the last thing is, does it matter how big the wave is? Do we need to give it a label? 20 foot. It was double overhead. It was tiny. It's small, minute. Give surfers a great way to understand what you're talking about when you're discussing it with somebody else. But I don't know. Is there a solution? Maybe not. All right, so I'm expecting to hear some really good replies from you guys. I always do whenever I call out size of a wave. So now's your time to get in that comment section and tell me how you describe waves and why. Thanks for watching. getting dizzy, knocking things over. I'm Brad Jacobson, and I'll see you on the sand.